Good evening and welcome to the news. A Wednesday lineup is an eclectic mix of views, reviews, previews and interviews. A sectoral analysis of a comprehensive spreadsheet on key interventions and the stumbling blocks between concept and reality. We will also sample the opinions of citizens on developing stories and events of local and global significance. Tonight, a united nation with a common adversary. Nigeria's top officials set the record straight on the battle against outlaws.
In March this year, a report by the Global Terrorism Index indicated that terrorist attacks were at their lowest in over a decade in Nigeria.
Fight against insecurity. Police receive patrol vehicles in Borno, while committee looks into rehabilitation of security infrastructure in Lagos. UNESCO approves International Media and Information Literacy Institutes for Abuja, Nigeria.
To
a first
judiciously
of its kind establishment.
Guide, protect, and maintain this institute, not just for the benefit of Nigeria, but also the worldwide, because this is an international institute, the first of its kind to be to be established.
And on politics, 72 hours to decision day in Anambra State. Governorship candidates in last-minute scramble for voters' endorsement. Also tonight, we will have a comprehensive analysis of the nation's business terrain with Benny Adams, while Badia Delaya is waiting to receive the list of Super Eagles players earmarked for the crucial World Cup playoffs next week. And an eye on tonight's UEFA Champions League confrontations. As we say on this shift, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Yen Ray John. This is News Extra. Welcome. Let's hit the road now as the federal government says the task of keeping Nigeria safe for every citizen is non-negotiable owing to its untiring commitment to faithfully guarantee peace and stability across every corner of the country. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, was speaking during a World Press Conference on Nigeria's designation as country of particular concern by the U.S. President Donald Trump. Correspondent Abubakar Akwanga reports.
Nigeria has said it will welcome assistance from the United States in fighting armed groups as long as its territorial integrity is respected. Officials and experts in Nigeria refuted Trump's claims of mass killings of Christians, noting that Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda-linked groups target people of all faiths.
Nigeria and the United States are two giants on the global stage that share common economic, political and social influence spanning many decades with growing partnership in energy and defense. Today, these narratives are threatened following the designation of Nigeria as a nation of particular concern by the U.S. President Donald Trump on the alleged persecution of Christians. Now, the federal government said the claims are untrue and do not reflect on the security reality on ground, as the government is committed to securing every part of the country.
In the last 2 years, significant progress, to give you an example, has been made in the war against terrorism across the Northwest, Northeast, Southeast, North Central, and other parts of this country. Within this period, the number of terrorism-related attacks has plummeted. In March, a report, and I want you to listen to this, in March this year, a report by the Global Terrorism Index indicated that terrorist attacks were at their lowest in over a decade in Nigeria. The Nigerian government did not say this. It is also the international community represented by the Global Terrorism Index that has given out this information.
The minister explained that several arrests of bandits, terrorist kingpins, sponsors and informants are being made on a daily basis, with the rescue of tens and hundreds of victims from their enclaves.
Less than 2 months ago, two internationally acclaimed terrorism suspects, Muhammad Usman and one Abubakar Abba, who are wanted not just by Nigeria, they are wanted by the international community, including the United States, are currently undergoing prosecution after their arrest by a great coordination by our security agencies and the armed forces. The two are believed to be the leaders of Jama'atu Ansar Muslimina fi Bidali Sudan, commonly known as Ansaru. It is Nigeria's Al-Qaeda affiliate. They were captured, like I said, in a high-risk, intelligence-led counter-terrorism operation only a few months ago, and this has been welcomed by the international community.
Mohammed Idris said the federal government procured sophisticated military hardware, including Super Tucano from the US, to contain the situation in troubled spots across the 6 geopolitical zones.
Nigeria welcomes dialogue, welcome cooperation, we also welcome support from foreign nations, including the United States of America, in addressing our shared security concerns. We warmly invite all our partners, both domestic and international, to join us in this noble endeavor, anchored on trust, on collaboration, and also based on mutual respect.
The minister assured that the federal government will explore all diplomatic channels to remedy the wrong impression and continue to promote fundamental human rights, dignity to life, and freedom of speech, which are universally recognized tenets of democracy. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Nigeria's Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, says this moment in the nation's history offers a unique opportunity for Nigerians, irrespective of religious, political and ethnic divide, to unite and prioritize the nation's sanctity above all negative narratives, as the current administration is working assiduously to rid the country of terrorists. This formed part of his remarks at a World Press Conference convened by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, in Abuja. Tokwe Alabi has all the details.
Nigeria's protracted confrontation with outlaws is now on the home straight. Key stakeholders say the renewed vigor to see this onslaught to its end has been given a push in the right direction, with the political will to remove the last vestiges of terrorism in the country. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris' address reeled out results of the war on terrorism under the President Tinubu's leadership in the past 2 years. These include curtailed access to small arms and light weapons to non-state actors, recovery and destruction of over 5,000 military-grade rifles, interception of over 20 gun-running networks, and increased investment in modernized equipment, as well as security and defense budget for security agencies to carry out their duty more efficiently. Meanwhile, number of terrorist attacks in the country has reduced, with Global Terrorism Index spotlighting it as lowest in over a decade. In the last 8 months, the Nigerian military has neutralized over 592 terrorists in Borno alone, freed 11,250 hostages in Zamfara and Kaduna, and intercepted and killed 400 armed bandits who swooped in to attack a village in Zamfara state.
And that's an eloquent testimony to the fact that government is alive to its responsibilities and is not shirking any, duties of protecting lives and properties. So it's important for us as purveyors of information, as I said, to be circumspect when it comes to reporting of sensitive issues. Except one is deceiving himself, nearly everybody in this country knows that there is no deliberate targeting of any religion for persecution. There are factors. Sometimes when these terrorists go to attack, they don't go to attack because of the religion of those inhabitants of those communities. They go to attack for different reasons, largely economic.
Despite the challenges that persist, the briefing reassured Nigerians of President Tinubu's resolve in tackling the multifaceted challenge. The ministers say the key hurdles to a safe society are currently being scaled, with a positive conclusion in sight. In Abuja, Tokwe Alabi, NTA News.
Similarly, a cross-section of personalities have appealed to Nigerians to unite behind the leadership of the country against the alleged persecution of Christians by the U.S. President Donald Trump. This was immediately after a World Press Conference by the Minister of Information and National Orientation to put records straight against the claims of existential threats to Christians and urged Nigerians to come together and fight common enemies working against the progress and prosperity of the land.
I call on Nigerians, let us live the reality of our country, because this country belongs to us, and we know for sure there is no deliberate persecution or otherwise of any religion in this country. That is the truth, that is reality. Let us live the reality of our country and support our president.
Any attempt to pretend to lie about an existence of a threat that is not real, but based on a perception that is faulty, I think it's something we should avoid.
Maybe, and more likely actually, they have information they cannot contextualize appropriately. They will draw conclusions they are not entirely sure of. But it's also a wake-up call. If somebody is saying something about you that is not good or that is not true, get up and talk, otherwise everybody will believe it.
In the same vein, the federal government has reached out to the international community, calling for support in its current drive to ensure stability and ongoing reform agenda, while issuing a firm reminder to respect the nation's sovereignty. Representing the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Umar Ahmed Dunoma, briefed diplomats stationed in their various missions in Abuja in this regard. Garba Nata'ala reports.
On arrival, diplomats were warmly received by officials of Foreign Affairs Ministry. As the Permanent Secretary takes his seat, silence and attention tilt towards his address, updating the diplomatic corps on Nigeria's economic reforms and their impact on all Nigerians.
Under this administration, the government is taking decisive actions to stabilize the macroeconomic environment, expand social investments, and improve national security. The government remains focused on national prosperity and economic resilience, continuing to implement far-reaching and beneficial reforms that are beginning to yield the desired results.
On security, the Permanent Secretary outlines Nigeria's stance, which is committed to protecting its citizens and strengthening global partnerships built on truth and mutual respect.
Nigeria has consistently demonstrated its openness to dialogue and cooperation and constructive engagement, which should remain the standard in the engagement between and among sovereign states in the international system.
The silence, perhaps, has made a difference, and one question remains hanging in the balance. How will these diplomats respond and advise their governments? Well, so far the move is now left in their court. The briefing is meant to correct any statement or rhetorics that dominated news headlines recently. In Abuja, Garba Muhammad Nata'ala, NTA.
And still on the statement by the U.S. President, religious leaders in Kaduna are reacting, of course, to the declaration by President Trump, citing Kaduna model of tolerance and cooperation amongst Christians and Muslims communities. Correspondent Haruna Muhammad reports that Kaduna remains a symbol of unity in diversity.
In a nation often described as diverse and complex, Kaduna State stands tall as a beacon of peace and unity in diversity. Once known for its challenges, the state has become a symbol of coexistence where Christians and Muslims, young and old, continue to live, work and grow together in mutual respect and understanding. The recent declaration by the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, on Nigeria as a country of concern and the alleged killings left religious leaders reacting.
If bandits or terrorists, if they strike in Zamfara, the likelihood that maybe 90 or 99% of the people that will be killed will be Muslims. If the same group strikes in Benue, in Plateau, the likelihood is that maybe 80 or 90% of those to be affected will be Christians.
After work and work and work, religious leaders were able to address the issue of intolerance, and they brought about religious harmony with the signing of the Kaduna Peace Declaration of Religious Leaders in 2002. Hostility against people of different religious background reduced drastically.
One of the model states you can see of religious coexistence is Kaduna. In the last 3 decades, we have worked across this country, but more especially in Kaduna State, which are built, one can see the peaceful coexistence in Kaduna. Today we are celebrating, and the governor of Kaduna State was marked as what? As ambassador of peaceful coexistence.
From the bustling streets of Kaduna metropolis to the calm neighborhood of Kachia, Kafanchan, Zaria, and Birnongwari, the story is that of peace, tolerance, and unity in diversity. In Kaduna, I am Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
If you just joined us, this is Africa's largest TV network. News Extra continues shortly. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Nigeria has secured the hosting right of the first UNESCO Category 2 International Media and Information Literacy Institute. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, represented at the 43rd UNESCO General Conference in Samarkand in Uzbekistan, assured the global community that Nigeria will maintain its leading role of sanitizing the media ecosystem and ensure that the world communicates, build bridges and not barriers. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
That the decision on this item will be taken without debate.
The diplomatic struggle that started in 2022 on the hosting right of the UNESCO Category 2 Institute has ended here.
It is proposed that we approve the designation of International Media and Information Literacy Institute in Abuja as an institute under the auspices of UNESCO Category 2, as recommended by the Executive Board in 222X Decision 19.9.
Through UNESCO, the world has shown resilience and unity to manage the evolving dangers of fake news. In order to walk the talk, the global organization has considered and approved the resolution of the 216th session of the Executive Board held in May 2023 after Nigeria has pledged to host the UNESCO Category 2 Institute.
We are all besieged by torrents of information where lines between fact and fiction are often deliberately blurred by misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech. These challenges respect no borders and threaten the very foundations of our democracies and social cohesion. The International Media and Information Literacy Institute has therefore been designed to serve as an international observatory for media and information literacy, a hub for research, policy dialogue, and capacity building.
Most importantly, what do we do? The next step. How are we going to judiciously guide, protect, and maintain this institute, not just for the benefit of Nigeria, but also the worldwide, because this is an international institute, the first of its kind to be established. I remember the first time we submitted the bill, we had problem with some of our fellow African countries. I don't want to mention names. It was like a fight. But you know, Nigeria is strong. Nigeria is resilient.
And for the UNESCO to have this kind of confidence to locate this institution in Nigeria is a step forward in at least presenting Nigeria in good light.
Our own side will try as much as possible. I will give the process a legislative backing to ensure that everything that needed to be done with the light of speech.
And we're going to engage Nigerians to work in the institute. Number two, international community will be flying into Nigeria. Members of the international will be flying into Nigeria. They'll be hosted in Nigeria. They will buy our food. They will stay in our hotels to learn, to study, to be certified by this institute. What can be better than this for us?
The stage is set for the launch of the institute in Abuja in February 2026. The 3-year battle has come to an end, and this means Nigeria now has more teeth, not only to bite, but to chew and solve the menace of fake news, misinformation, and disinformation. From Samarkand in Uzbekistan, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
Indeed, the stage is set. Many thanks, Salihu. And joining us now for a conversation all the way from Uzbekistan is Dr. Hajo Sani, Ambassador and Permanent Delegate of Nigeria to UNESCO. I just saw you in that report. Good to see you, ma'am.
Thank you, Harry John. How are you? Good morning to you from account here. It's already early morning.
Fantastic. Glad you could join us. Now, let's get right into it. Now, what does the establishment of this institute, first in the world, mean to Nigeria?
I think it means a lot. And just like you rightly said, this is the first of its kind. It's a global institute. And the last 3 years, since 2022, we've been working towards it since Nigeria first hosted the Global Media Week in October 2022 in Abuja, and the Abuja Declaration was adopted, and the Nigerian government also came to it and declared expressed interest to establish this institute. So since then, we've been working the last 3 years towards processing and submitting the draft resolution to the executive board here, and lobbying and getting the support of some member states. Many of them supported Nigeria. And in the process also, a committee of experts were sent to Nigeria to come and verify the competence to see Nigeria is ready to host this institute. And we got a favorable report, which actually enabled UNESCO to continue, and all stakeholders, including the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation.
All right.
The ministry has done very well.
All right, great. Thank you. Now, I hear that February 2026 is the proposed month for the launch. Now, what next after this launch to ensure effective takeoff?
Well, I think a lot of things has to be put in place. Before the launch, actually, we are working towards to really see where this institute is domiciled in the Nigerian Open University of Nigeria. And what we have now, we are hoping the Minister of Information will continue with what he has been doing, and trying to get the support of Mr. President, who has really actually shown personal interest and committing financial resources to see for the take-up, paying all the counterpart fees that Nigeria has to pay to UNESCO. And I believe by the time this the institute is launched in February, as we're hoping, is going to provide an excellent outfit. It's actually said to be an excellent institute for international advocacy.
All right.
For advocacy, for research, and for capacity building.
Great. That's fantastic. We can't wait for that, Dr. Hajo Sani. But just before I let you go, you actively took part in diplomatic politics. So, I mean, continuously, that's what you do for us. What do your international partners think about Nigeria?
Well, I think everyone is happy, to be honest with you. Most of the African countries, they are happy. Something has brought closer to them. Nigeria is a country that no African country will play with. And I believe also other parts of the world, even the developed countries, they will look up to this institute as an institute that will provide them all the necessary training that need for the professional journalists and all those, the younger people, for UNESCO especially. We have the Youth Forum, Youth Strategy on Media and Communication, which I believe even UNESCO will find it very, very useful. So it's going to benefit a number of countless, and of course, worldwide.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hajo Sani, Ambassador and Permanent Delegate of Nigeria to UNESCO. You look great in that fabric, by the way. And
thank you. I showcase Nigeria wherever I go. I'm very proud. You need to see how people keep on asking me. I say, yes, this is my national dress.
Great to see. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right. So let's move on to other issues. Now look at education. As the Nigerian Education Loan Fund established under the 2024 Student Loans Act is bringing new hope to thousands of young Nigerians who dream of higher education but struggle with financial challenges. Signed into law by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the scheme provides interest-free loans covering tuition and upkeep, a timely relief in the wake of fuel subsidy removal. Salisu Aminu Dutse will tell us more.
For many young Nigerians from low-income families, the cost of tertiary education has long been a major obstacle. But for 22-year-old Bukar Muti, a 400-level mass communication student at Kashim Ibrahim University, Maiduguri, that narrative is beginning to change. Just like Bukar, Hawa is among over 800 students in the university currently benefiting from the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. The initiative covers tuitions, registration fees, and living expenses, enabling students to focus on their studies without financial anxiety.
NEL funding help us to pay our transport money, registration. We thank the federal government to support our education.
It helps us and it helps our family there because it's not easy to come from far every day.
With this money, we used to do most of our activities within our department because we normally use a lot of money to do some things in our department.
This has helped students that don't have the standard of coming to the school to come and pursue their dreams.
Under the repayment arrangement, beneficiaries are required to start paying back only after graduation and often securing employment, a structure the federal government says is aimed at ensuring both accessibility and sustainability.
Quite a number of the students were not able to pay their school fees. So Nelfon came in, we immediately invited the director, ES, on campus here. He came. And we had a discussion. So I followed him to go and talk to the students about it. And I can tell you, last session, about 10,197 students on my record paid school fees. And out of that, 8,000 was paid by NEL Fund.
For Bukar, Hawa, and many others, the NEL Fund scheme is not just a financial intervention, but a lifeline to a brighter future. In Maiduguri, Salisu Aminu, NTA News.
And still talking education, a new era of accountability is unfolding in Nigeria's federal tertiary institutions as the Federal Ministry of Education teams up with the Bureau of Public Procurement to enforce strict compliance with procurement laws. The partnership signals a firm push to eliminate opaque practices, strengthen oversight, and ensure institutions uphold federal financial regulations in the management of public funds. Zenret Dingmon reports.
For years, the absence of standardized and reliable data across federal tertiary institutions has slowed planning, weakened accountability, and hindered meaningful progress in Nigeria's education sector. But that is now set to change. In a decisive move, the Director General of the Bureau of Public Procurement announces a new compliance directive. No federal tertiary institution may appoint a director of procurement or execute procurement plans without the Bureau's clear and formal approval.
Failure for a project to be delivered is your responsibility, not the chairman of council. Not your pro-chancellor. If a project is not implemented, it's the VC that I will hold accountable.
We need to build our own capacity. Head of institutions, you do not have a choice. You must begin to use TERAS to its maximum platform, maximum capacity. We've invested a lot of government money.
At the same time, the Federal Ministry of Education has unveiled its Governance and Transparency Portal, a digital platform that mandates all federal tertiary institutions to regularly submit key operational information.
Enabling better planning and budgeting, stronger partnership opportunities with industry and development partners, improve credibility for international collaboration, accurate and timely reporting to the government,
in terms of what comes in. Everybody can see that, what we utilize it, and even the ability of a tertiary institution.
We provide the necessary data that the community and the society needs. We have more, demonstrate more transparency, more openness.
This drive for transparency is reinforced by a renewed investment in digital infrastructure through the Nigeria Research and Education Network (NREN) program designed to connect campuses nationwide with secure, high-speed internet access. In Abuja, Zenred Dingmun, NTA News.
We head to Gombe State now, but not veering off education completely, as the Inuwa Yahya administration in Gombe State is steadily keeping its promise of offsetting all backlogs of civil servant gratuities, which have been piling up, running into billions of naira before the end of May 2027. This is with the flag of another round of payments to both state and local government retirees to bring the cumulative gratuities payment in 6 years to over 33 billion naira. Emmanuel Akila reports that Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahya also commenced payment of scholarship to students of the state in institutions of higher learning across the country.
Hope comes alive for senior citizens in Gombe State who retired from public service, but their benefits hang on for years.
Life is not easy, but with this effort that the executive governor of Gombe State have done, we really appreciate his effort.
Let us continue to work together in unity, peace and understanding so that the gains we are witnessing today can be sustained and expanded.
Settlement of the gratuities backlog is a promise Governor Muhammad Ino Yahya made and intends to keep it.
With today's disbursement, our cumulative gratuity payment has reached a historic 33 billion 826 million naira since 2019. And I would like to assure you that next year we shall pay that of 2024 and 2025.
The state government also flags off payment of scholarship to students of the state in higher institutions of learning across the country, including the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment Agile and persons with physical challenges at their various levels of academic pursuits. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akira, NTA News.
Similarly, soccer has come the way of some students from various institutions in the northern part of Nigeria as MTN Foundation Nigeria embarks on its 2025 scholarship awards to reduce financial burden of the beneficiaries. Francis Udoja has the details.
It is one thing to be intelligent and willing to acquire education, but there could also be the challenge of meeting financial demands that university education entails. This gathering of university students from the northern part of Nigeria shows how lucky they are to be among latest beneficiaries of the MTN Scholarship Awards. For Robert Cletus, visually impaired and a 300-level sociology student from the Taraba State University, the gesture is a dream come true.
From where I stay to the school, I used to pay 300 naira, 800 naira before, but now I thank God for MTN, who has supported me, give me that scholarship.
To the MTN Foundation, thank you. Your investment in us is an investment in our future, in our community and our vision.
The MTN Scholarship Awards cut across students in public universities, including physically challenged students. The initiative focuses on science and technology, with requirement to be in the CGPA of 3.5 and above bracket. MTN says 1,050 students from across the country have benefited from the gesture this year.
During COVID, we launched the Top UTME scholarships, which we get the list from JAM, and so those are the pathways of scholarships that we have. Till date, we've awarded over 14,000 scholarships across to students from across Nigeria.
Since the launch of the Scholarship Awards over 15 years ago, MTN has invested about 2.2 billion naira, an initiative it sees as a commitment to building capacity of the Nigerian youth. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Away from education now, let's look at electoral matters. And of course, all eyes are on Anambra as the Anambra governorship election draws near. Gubernatorial candidates are ramping up their campaigns, cutting voters and appealing to stakeholders to ensure a smooth electoral process. But what exactly are these candidates hoping for from the electorate and other key players? Ngozi Okekaro takes a closer look at the expectations of these governorship hopefuls and what they believe is at stake. Let's hear them.
Party candidates, tensions are high, and having dotted their I's and crossed their T's ahead of the November 8th to get votes from the electorate, look forward to an election, not compromise.
Expecting total support, I'm expecting them to do what they've done before.
Restore back the confidence the electorates, our citizens, needs from INEC.
I want people to come out in mass and vote and exercise their franchise and show that they are interested in good governance.
I want the new INEC chairman to conduct free and fair election in Anambra State on November 8th. Credible election which will be accepted by all people.
Supervise and make sure that there's no vote buying in this polling unit. It's important that INEC plays their role properly.
Come November 8th, INEC is expected to walk the talk of free, fair and transparent polls. In Oka, Ngozi Okekaro, NTA News.
All right, still on Anambra elections tonight on candidate face-off, candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Nicholas Ukachukwu, and his counterpart from the Labour Party, George Mogalu, are joining us for a conversation. Many thanks for joining us. With us, as well as Nicholas Ukachukwu. All right, it looks like we have a challenge with that connection, but of course, if we re-establish the connection, we will. Okay, I hear that George Mogalu is with us. George Mogalu of the Labour Party, good to have you on News Extra tonight. All right, without wasting any more time, let's move on with other stories now, as the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, says President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's revised public-private partnership models in the health sector are attracting foreign exchange and new investment across the health services industry. Professor Pate stated this as he announced a multi-phased investment agreement of $35 million that will establish a new world-class diagnostic center, a research and imaging training facility, and cutting-edge imaging equipment across federal hospitals in all zones. This, he said, will reduce the economic burden on Nigerians who travel for medical treatment. The coordinating minister addressed the media on a site visit to the Universal Medical Imaging and Diagnostic Center at Shanghai University in Shanghai, China.
Only adds to this effort, and the National Hospital in Abuja is identified as the first place where United Medical Imaging will have a diagnostic center over time so that we can see how to operationalize such a major diagnostic facility in our own national health system. They're willing to commit initial $5 to $6 million in the first phase, and over time they have indicated to us at least $30 million more in the second phase.
The Minister of Health there and Social Welfare, speaking all the way from China. Now, let's get back to the candidates for the Anambra election. As already mentioned, we have George Mogalu of the Labour Party joining us. George, if you can hear me, good to see you.
My pleasure as always. I'm hearing you.
All right, just a few hours to the election on Saturday. What's the level of preparedness of your party, for this exercise, and what are you bringing to the table that you expect a number of people to vote for you?
We're very prepared. We are looking forward to next Saturday, which is the 8th. for the election proper. We are very, very well prepared. We are bringing to the table integrity, honesty, good governance, because we keep saying we want to change the narrative, and that is what we stand for. So basically, we are bringing a new phase of governance. We are trying to change things and do it better, not just a normal way of doing this. We want to change the narrative and let people, the Anambrarians, wherever they may be, let them be beneficiaries of a good governance. So basically, we want to do things differently.
All right, great. I hope that those in Anambra are convinced about your message. But speak to us about the peace accord, which was signed a few days ago. Do you think that all the candidates involved, or if you like the parties, are ready to play by the rules?
No, I can only speak for myself. I'm determined to live by the document I signed. I believe very strongly there's need for peace. In as much as it's a contest, it's not expected to be a war. Okay? I want to do it the way it should be done. Get around our people, tell our people what I'm bringing to the table, talk to them, convince them, win their confidence, and then gain their support. For me, it's not a matter of life or death. It's not a do or die thing. It's about going to tell the people who you are, for those who don't know you, and then sell your manifesto, sell your party's program, and if they buy into it, to God be the glory. I am one of those who believe very strongly that power belongs to God, and He gives to whom He pleases at His own time. What we are doing is to make ourselves available for the will of God to prevail. So for me, it's a very welcome development. I was excited about the sign of the peace accord.
All right, many thanks, George Mogalu. I understand that
every one of us, what the document we signed says.
All right, many thanks. I understand that Nicholas Okachukwu is joining us now, and the connection is crisp enough. Nicholas, if you can hear me, I'd like you to speak to us about, about the same thing, really. Are you prepared for this election, and what do you intend to deliver to the people of Anambra State if you win? Nicholas Okachukwu? All right, looks like that connection is not as good as we want it to be. But I think I'll round off with George Mogalu now, if the connection is still there. On a final note, I'd like you to speak to your expectations. Speak about your expectations, rather, what you would, want INEC to do differently, and the security agents, of course.
Yes, my expectations, actually, being honest with you, is that
All right, I guess we'd have to leave candidates face off at that point tonight. The connection not too friendly, but of course we hope that the elections will be as smooth as possible on Saturday. All right, let's move away from Anambra now and look at some other trending news. Now, the federal government says improving the welfare of personnel in the nation's tertiary institution is key to enhancing productivity, research output, and stability in the sector. The Minister of Education, Dr. Olatunji Alausa, stated this in Akure, Ondo State, while presenting the Tertiary Institution Staff Support Fund check to the Federal University of Technology, Akure, FUTA, one of the beneficiaries of the Renewed Hope Initiative. Toye Batire reports.
Presenting checks to beneficiaries of the newly introduced Tertiary Institution Staff Support Fund, the Minister of Education, Dr. Olatunji Alausa, said 9,000 staff have been approved for the first phase of disbursement out of the 33,000 applicants nationwide. He explained that the initiative goes beyond financial support, noting that it is a direct investment in the nation's knowledge economy designed to improve morale, performance, and institutional excellence in the system.
This is an interest-free loan, and the first 24 months, you will not even pay the principal back. And you're expected to pay back, I think, in about 5 or 7 years. This is carefully designed to support every component of your welfare.
As we strive to build a knowledge-driven economy, the strength of our tertiary education system rests fundamentally on the quality and well-being of its workforce.
Vice Chancellor of FUTA, Professor Adenike Oladiji, and some beneficiaries commended the intervention.
FUTA, like many other Nigerian universities, has been beneficiaries. We have beneficiaries of some of the laudable initiatives.
We plan on using it for structural development, and it will be a source of income to the family.
Now I have more opportunities to expand, to create opportunities for people and to improve my life.
The federal government says the staff support fund will be sustained and expanded in the coming years. In Akure, Toyin Batire, NTA News.
All right, we have to go back to Nicholas Ukachukwu. All right, I'm just being told that it looks like he will not be able to speak with us tonight. All right, Nicholas Ukachukwu now joins us via telephone since we cannot establish connection with him via Zoom. So you just hear his voice and, of course, his picture. Now, Nicholas, if you can hear me, I was trying to find out earlier your preparation for this election come Saturday and what you intend to deliver to the people of Anambra State if you eventually win the election. All right, Nicholas Ukachukwu, can you hear me? All right, I guess we have to leave it at that tonight. Now, partnership in healthcare and medical training in a move aimed at strengthening healthcare delivery and medical education in Jigawa State. Governor Umar Namadi has pledged full support to the newly established Federal University Dutse Teaching Hospital. Mohammed Musa Askira reports that this came up during a courtesy call on the governor by a delegation from the hospital led by Dr. Salisu Muazu at the government house in Dutse.
Delegation from the Federal University Dutse Teaching Hospital led by Dr. Salisu Muazu was at the government house to brief Governor Umar Namadi on the progress and challenges of the hospital since its recent takeover by the federal government. Dr. Muazu, who is also the Chief Medical Director of the Roshesha Koni Teaching Hospital, announced that the facility has now been officially handed over to serve as a training ground for medical students of the Federal University Dutse. He commended the Jigawa State government for its unwavering support throughout the transition process, disclosing that 877 staff members have been successfully migrated to the federal government's payroll, over 70% of whom are Jigawa indigents. Responding, Governor Umar Namadi reiterated his commitments to supporting the growth and smooth operation of the Federal University Dutse Teaching Hospital, assuring the management of the hospital of housing allocation for staff, provision of solar power to ensure uninterrupted operations, and land for expansion of the facility.
The hospital has great potentials, which will provide skill and knowledge acquisition opportunities for the indigents, because there will be a lot of professionals coming, and it will give an opportunity for our own citizens to learn on the job.
As a sitting governor, I have no reason why I cannot advocate and look for whatever help from everywhere for the hospital. The hospital is sited in Jigawa State. I have the responsibility to advance the cause of any institution that is in Jigawa State.
Umar Namadi reaffirmed that the partnership between the state and the federal governments will continue to enhance healthcare delivery and human capital development in Jigawa State. In Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
We'll move away from Jigawa now as the Executive Secretary, Nigeria Police Trust Fund and other stakeholders have commended President Bola Tinubu for assenting to the amended Nigeria Police Trust Fund Act. A move seen as a bold step towards sustainable policing reform and improved security across the country. Francis Fong reports that the amended legal framework is to strengthen funding mechanisms for the Nigeria Police Force towards addressing long-standing challenges of logistics and operational support.
Inadequate funding has long been a great impediment to effective policing in Nigeria, limiting response capacity, hampering training programs, and slowing acquisition and maintenance of vital operational tools. But the signing of the amended Nigeria Police Trust Fund Act into law by President Bola Tinubu is a game changer for the Nigeria Police Force.
It is a step in the right direction, given that the approval of this bill to become an act will greatly reform and strengthen and also better reposition the Nigerian police for quality service delivery
Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Police Trust Fund, Mohammed Shaidu, expressed deep appreciation to the President for demonstrating strong political will to reposition the Nigeria Police Force.
It gives it now a longer lifespan. It gives it more structure. So we're more on ground. So that's why I say we need to actually commend the President, first of all, for even signing the extension in the first place before this reenactment of the law, making this agency, making the trust fund an actual agency and removing the sunset clause. So commendation to Mr. President and the Police Council for actually making this happen. It sees that now we have an executive that has the will and that is willing to push this policing agenda forward. It is a very significant landmark that was actually done a couple of weeks ago.
The assent to the Nigeria Police Trust Fund Act marks another milestone in Nigeria's journey towards modern, efficient, and accountable policing, capable of confronting contemporary security challenges and restoring public confidence in law enforcement. Francis from NTA News.
And still on security issues, as part of continued efforts towards enhancing security and maintaining social order in Borno State, Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has distributed 63 additional vehicles to volunteer forces and the Rapid Response Squad. The distribution was held at the Government House in Maiduguri.
Out of the 63 vehicles provided, 30 were allocated to the 10 sectors of the Civilian Joint Task Force, with each sector receiving 3 vehicles. 6 vehicles were given to hunters, while security agencies that make up the Anti-Social Vices Squad, comprising NSCDC, DSS, Correctional Service, and Immigration, received 2 each, with NAPTIF getting 1, while the Rapid Response Squad receiving 15 vehicles. The vehicles are expected to enhance security operations and curb criminal activities within Maiduguri and environs. Governor Zulum, who appreciated the security volunteers for their sacrifices towards restoring peace in the state, charged them to use the vehicles for the intended purpose.
To whom much is given, much is expected from him. And therefore we urge you to work assiduously with the Nigerian Army and ensure that Maiduguri Metropolitan Council and its environs is being rid of criminalities.
The governor also announced a welfare package of 50,000 naira and a bag of rice for each volunteer, while senior officers among them are to receive 100,000 naira. Borno State Commissioner of Police Naziru Abdelmajid and coordinator of the Civilian Joint Task Force, Colonel Yahaya Gambo retired, appreciated the governor for his continuous support to the security apparatus.
The vehicles will be successfully used and assure that crime rate in Borno State will be combated accordingly.
Borno State government has continued to support security outfits operating in the state to enable them discharge their duties effectively. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
Meanwhile, conducive learning environment with modern infrastructure and digital equipment will go a long way in restoring the pride, professionalism and confidence of security personnel in Nigeria. Chairman, National Economic Committee, NEC, Governor Peter Umba of Enugu State, re-emphasized this during an oversight visit to security training institutions in Lagos. Diana Ajali reports.
The National Economic Council Committee, led by Governor Peter Umba of Enugu State, also had Dakpo Abiodun of Ogun State and former Inspector General of Police, Alkali Baba Usman, who is the secretary of the committee on the oversight visit.
The status of
this move is to ascertain the needs of the security training institutions with the aim to improve training facilities across the country, aligning with President Bola Tinubu's vision for a trillion naira economy and enhanced security architecture.
We also have with us the consultants. These consultants are going to do a deep dive. They are going to do a deep assessment of what we need to rebuild, what we need to re-equip, and what we need to sustain these training institutions.
Police College Training School, Ikeja, which was built since 1948, was the fourth port of call in need of overhaul.
The president has approved the recruitment of 30,000 policemen and women. We know that they need to be imbued with the evolving 21st century skills.
Following President Bola Tinubu's directive to deliver reports within 30 days, Chairman Peter Mba said the committee has been divided into 2 subcommittees to ensure timely and effective completion of its task. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
Let's pause again. There's more news after these commercials. Stay with us. Thank you for remaining tuned. Behind every functioning system are the people who make it work and those who rely on it. For over 2 decades, Nigeria's pension system has navigated a series of challenges, with stakeholders consistently calling for greater efficiency, transparency, and accountability. Maria Adu-Zakari will complete the story.
Since the shift from the defined benefit scheme to the contributory pension scheme in 2004, pension assets have grown remarkably through strategic investments. With over 19 trillion naira in assets, Nigeria's PENCOM is one of the largest in Africa. Despite this progress, the system continues to grapple with persistent issues: delayed payments, bureaucratic bottlenecks, limited awareness and communication among contributors.
The enrollment side is specifically for those that had accrued right, those who are in service as at 2004, so that the Commission will be able to determine, get their data and determine what actually belongs to them in terms of pension benefits.
Provision provides the basis for the review of pension every 5 years or whenever there is a salary review in the public service.
To bring us up to date, to educate us, and to know all the changes and other incentives that has been built in to the pension arrangement.
The National Pension Commission, PENCOM, is prioritizing capacity building, equipping pension desk officers with the knowledge and tools needed to deliver efficient, transparent, and responsive service to pension contributors. Maria Adu-Zakari, NTA News.
Good news for pensioners. I'm sure Benny has more good news for us. Let's hear him. Benny.
Sure. It's good news all the way. Now, Minister of State Industry, John Owen Eno, has assured that the federal government would continue to provide all the necessary support towards ensuring that only products that meet quality and safety standards, in addition to value for consumers of products across the country, are in the market. This is as the Standard Organization of Nigeria is providing facilities for product testing, certification, inspection, and market surveillance in Niger, Sokoto, and neighboring states. The stakeholders say it is all about fully delivering on its mandate of promoting industrial growth and advancing the socio-economic development of Nigeria.
If every lab, every test of product has to take place in Lagos, of course it affects, the quality of work. It affects what progress that you can make. But so having to have, a Sun office in Sokoto that has the full complement of laboratory and everything, and it makes it easier.
It is my sincere hope that this facility will serve its purpose to promote excellence of all standard and advance the cause of quality in all sectors of our economy.
Through collaboration between the federal and state institutions, we can build stronger systems that work for the people.
The true measure of our success lies in the quality of services we deliver and the impact we make on lives and livelihoods.
Now, moving on, Vice President Kashim Shettima, represented by Dr. Tokwe Fasua, Special Advisor to the President on Economic Matters, alongside regulators, scholars, development partners, and investors from across the African continent, have called for deepening the adoption of Islamic finance as a tool for inclusive and sustainable economic transformation across the continent. This was at the 7th African International Conference on Islamic Finance, hosted by the Metropolitan Law and Skills in collaboration with the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, with the theme, Africa Imagine, a prosperous and inclusive outlook.
Program for infrastructure development in Africa, 69 flagship projects worth over $160 billion have been identified to transform regional connectivity. In Nigeria, we are complementing this continental effort through InfraCorp, a partnership blending public and private capital to fund metro lines, dry ports, and industrial corridors. We are investing in renewable energy and local manufacturing, ensuring that Africa does not merely consume technology, but produces it.
You can use Sukuk to finance irrigation.
Well, moving on, let's look at the stock market at this time as the final bell rang across the continent, marking the end of a day where Africa's leading capital markets danced to separate tunes. The market in Nigeria experienced a bout of profit taking, leading to a noticeable drop in the all-share index by 1.19%. The South Africa GSE Top 40 finished firmly in green, appreciating by 1.19% also, while the Tunisia Tune Index demonstrated resilience, with the index largely appreciating marginally by 0.17%. That is it on business. Nyeri, you can take it from here.
Many thanks, Benny. Now, Nigeria's government is committing to build an inclusive, research-driven, ethical and responsible technology systems, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence for quality service delivery to citizens. Chimdima Ndubisi reports that this was as delegates from across the globe gathered in Abuja for the International Conference on Theory and Practice of Electronic Governance, ICEGov, to discuss how to shape in the future of digital governance by inter-country cooperation.
Government is increasingly using digital technology to deliver services faster to citizens, from renewing passports online to applying for business permits, all to make life easier while ensuring accountability and transparency. That's electronic governance or digital governance. At the International Conference on Theory and Practice of Electronic Governance, discussions are getting deeper. It's not about governments just delivering digital services, but about making them serve even those in the remote parts of the world, as well as how governments of developing and developed countries can cooperate to make this happen.
Governments and states should listen and moderate discussions about public affairs, shape political agendas to respond to uncovered needs, and secure the digital space for such discussions, free from hate speech.
Nigeria is conscious of driving citizen-oriented digital governance, prioritizing digital literacy. Again, it's the issue of artificial intelligence governance, of which Nigeria is making headway.
The National Digital Economy and E-Governance Bill 2025, when passed into law, this bill will not only provide regulatory clarity to electronic transactions in the country, it will also mandate government agencies to digitize their operations.
Nigeria, through NIDA, funded 55 research projects, both those that are focused on application and those just coming from university. A lot of them are focused on artificial intelligence. Oxford University released the ranking of governments in the world and how they are appropriating and positioning for AI. And guess what? Nigeria was scored 100% in terms of vision for AI.
When you are digitally literate, you have the know-how on how to use the technology safely and responsibly.
As artificial intelligence continues to shape daily life and policy, it's about how such emerging technologies can be used to encourage innovation, yet keep people protected against cyber criminals. Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Another break is due. Please don't go away. Glad to have you back. President Bola Tinubu has requested the National Assembly to approve a borrowing program of 1,150 billion naira from the domestic debt market to close unfunded gaps in the 2025 budget deficit. The president's request was read on the floor of the House of Representatives by Deputy Speaker of the House, Benjamin Kalu. Mitare Ikbem has details.
The House of Representatives honored its decision to reconvene plenary on Wednesday, while the issue of outstanding debt owed local contractors is being addressed. Lawmakers were, however, in closed-door deliberations over the issue for more than 2 hours.
NTA News gathered that during the closed-door sessions, lawmakers demanded full implementation of the capital component of the 2024 Appropriation Act by the executive, as well as commencement of implementation of the 2025 budget. President Tinubu's request was thereafter entertained in plenary. The president, in his letter, emphasized the need to increase domestic borrowing limit in the 2025 budget to bridge the shortfall in funding the budget deficit. This, the president notes, will enable government meet its financial obligations and stimulate economic growth.
The National Assembly passed a budget of 59.99 trillion naira, an increase of 5.25 trillion naira from the 49.74 trillion naira budget proposed by the executive. This increase created a budget deficit of 14.10 trillion naira. However, the proposed borrowing approved in the budget was 12.95 trillion naira.
The loan request has been referred to the House Committee on AIDS, Loans and Debt Management for consideration. The House also passed 3 bills. One, to amend the Raw Materials Research and Development Council Act to protect local manufacturing industries, and 2 others to establish the Chartered Institute of Public Health Studies and Administration, as well as establish the Federal Medical Center, Gumel, Jigawa State. House plenary has been adjourned to Tuesday next week. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Let's take another break. Please remain tuned. Let's join Badi for sports news.
Many thanks, Yara. Let's begin with this big news for football lovers in the country, as the Nigeria Premier Football League has signed a major broadcast deal that will allow fans to watch live league matches for free across the country. At a brief ceremony in Abuja, the NPFL partnered with a leading content production company and TV development giants, with NTA Sports set to play a central role in airing the matches on digital, terrestrial and satellite platforms. The event had in attendance NFF President Ibrahim Gusau, NPFL Chairman Bengai Legbeleye, and NBC DJ Charles Ebuebo, who hailed the deal as a big win for Nigeria's digital switchover.
The way of pay TV anymore. We want every home to have access to our matches, and we decide to opt for free TV.
It is a milestone event for me where we see this happening in our time. It further pushes the importance of the digital switchover.
You can watch it on DTT, you can watch it on DTH, and also the same matches that we produce, we will give it to NTA Sports.
Way to go. Straight to the UEFA Champions League, where Chelsea were held to a 2-2 draw by Azerbaijan champions Karabakh in the Champions League, as Enzo Maresca's young side showed yet more inconsistency, while Pafos defeated Villarreal 1-0. And the other match concluded already. 7 more matches are currently being decided, with Manchester City 3-2, 3-0 up against Borussia Dortmund. Club Brugge leading Barcelona 3-2. And of course, Newcastle are 2-0 up against Athletic Bilbao. 4 other matches are currently in a draw. And of course, Victor Osimhen just scored for Galatasaray against Ajax. We'll keep you updated. And of course, that does it on Sports Tonight. Let's now return to Nyere.
Many thanks, Badi, for the update. Now, President Bola Tinubu expresses a sense of loss at the passing of Major General Abdullahi Mohammed Adangba, retired, who was governor of the defunct Benue Plateau State between 1975 and 1976, as well as a former chief of staff to Presidents Olusegun Obasanjo and Umaru Yar'Adua. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Nanuga, the President describes General Adangba, aged 86, as one who left indelible marks on the nation's security architecture, particularly in the establishment of the National Security Organization. The precursor to the state security services, the National Intelligence Agency and the Defense Intelligence Agency, which spanned decades. President Tinubu commiserates with the family, government and people of Kwara State, the Nigerian Armed Forces and all who mourn his distinguished son of Nigeria. And that's our package of News Extra tonight. Many thanks for investing your time with us. From the entire crew, do have a good night.